I'm Ray.
I'm Candace.
Welcome to Unpacking Coffee. This week,
we're talking to Metric Coffee out of Chicago, Illinois.
Metric Coffee, Chicago.
This week we spoke with Xavier Alexander and also a little bit to Benjamin Paz about what Metric Coffee is doing while they were in Seattle.
Xavier is one of the co-founders of Metric and also their green coffee buyer.
Hello everybody, my name is Xavier Alexander. I'm co-founder of Metric Coffee from Chicago, Illinois.
Hello, Xavier.
Hello!
First, Xavier told us about the founding of Metric Coffee.
I ask myself that every day, who is Metric? But I tell you, so Metric it was founded by myself and my business partner Darko Aranjelovic back in 2013. Started roasting in early 2000s, and everything's like super dark, super, like flavored. And then it wasn't until 2004 I had gone to my first SCA. So seeing like everyone from all over the country come there, and then tasting other coffees, I then learned that wow, this is a big world, and I fell in love with it, is what I wanted to say.
He had a great job working as a head roaster at Intelligentsia.
Because I fell in love with it, I knew that I didn't want to just fall out of love with making coffee. I wanted to continue that passion. I did not personally feel like I had the platform to engage in such a way that I needed to just fly out and do it. My partner Darko owns a cafe in Chicago.
He met Darko and was able to combine someone who had cafe experience with his roasting experience.
So when I had met Darko, it became clear that I could do this. He's a native from Serbia, so he came to the States like not knowing any English and just kind of worked his way up. And so he's another hustler. That's when I knew I could take the chance and do it. And that's exactly what we did.
To me, the word that kept coming up was hustle.
Do the hustle. Do the hustle.
Like, they basically went all in.
I found a roaster. So that roaster was a Probat that I found in a listing in Germany. The buyer's like, it's ready, you can, customize, et cetera, et cetera. Sweet, here's all this money, stranger guy. And suddenly, like, not a peep. We don't hear from him. It's off his cell phone, and we're like, we're screwed. Like, let's jump another 7 months after the machine arrives in a complete mess. It's just a piece of garbage. So Darko and I fixed it ourselves. We spent months fixing it. A lot of what you will see in our space are things that we hand built ourselves, or we found on Craigslist, or we had the help of friends. That's really the birth of Metric.
One thing they tried to do in Seattle was to bring the experience and culture of their Chicago neighborhood with them.
Our shop is in West Fulton. Or rather, it's Fulton Market area.
And they actually did a panel that sort of wraps around over the bar at La Marzocco.
What's cool about what we're doing here at La Marzocco is that we partnered with our friends Good Beer Hunting, and so they have panels, and if you guys want to do a little pan edit of the wraparound of the cafe. Goose Island Brewing, which is our beer partner, is also in the design. We have Unison, we have just other companies that we've collaborated with, and so that's part of it. And also, like, the drinks that are on the menu, the specialty drinks, are made by our baristas, and they're just inspired by Chicago, by the Midwest.
We got a chance to talk to Benjamin Paz, who's an importer in Honduras.
I started working with Xavier because it was based on a relationship through a friend. You didn't mean to visit us, right? You were with the other group.
No, yeah, I was with another group, which I left.
And then I was picking up his friend, and then he's like, hey guys, can I come with you?
So when he said, sure, come with us, it was like, yeah, awesome.
Cool, and this is the time to present Dennis's coffee. So I put it on the table, and he liked it, and he purchased it. And then it was the first relationship that Dennis as a farmer had. And he stopped working for other people, and coffee became his first source of income. He was like, why are you giving me all this treatment, right? Or like this, like
like
hosting
for
me
4
and
bags
having
of
all
coffee.
that if I'm only buying 3 bags of coffee?
3 bags.
Yeah, it was 3 bags. and I'm like, well, and this is the kind of people that I want to work with, no matter if you buy 1 bag or 100. And we're Latin Americans, so we are, very close
Oh
to
yeah.
everyone.
yeah.
Because that's the base of our program, the relationship, our values, that connection that can be built in between a buyer and the roaster, and that goes beyond a regular coffee transaction. Of course, the quality has to be there as a guarantee, but there are a lot of important things around the coffee that we consider very important, and connecting with nice people that are doing a really good job, that's one of the main ones. So this is why I wanted to work with these guys.
This is not just a simple like cup coffees put in a bag, put in a menu and sell. It goes far beyond that. It's a relational thing, because they do feel like family to a degree. When I go to their house, they'll make some coffee, and literally every producer's house we go to, we already had lunch, and then they want to fix you lunch again and another lunch again. By the time you're done of the day, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
But they're so honored to have you there. So it's kind of like they rolled out their best, and they want to make sure they take care of you and treat you right. And that I'm never lost on that.
In a future episode, we're going to talk in more detail with Ben Hameen.
Today we're serving a coffee from a producer. Her name is Alma Pineda. The variety is Paranema. It's originally from El Salvador, and what's really interesting about this variety is that it was introduced to Honduras to be an alternative to coffees that are that can grow at lower altitudes and be resistant to rust. So roya, or coffee rust, is an issue that's just affecting all of Central and South America. You're expecting 100% of your yield to hopefully produce and be able to be sellable. Imagine if suddenly you have this issue, which is the rust, cut half of your production. It's not like anybody's easing up on the bills. It could be a disaster, which is part of the reason why a lot of people abandon coffee. So here's Paranema, comes in. It can grow at low altitudes. The flavor profile is really interesting. Really just supple and creamy, and a lot of like florals and really nice acids. Tasted that coffee, I fell in love with it. And then furthermore, I fell in love with Alma and her husband Evan, because they're just such sweet people. Alma had spent a year overseas working and sending money back home. They can invest in their farms. What I connected with on a deeper level, besides the actual quality of the product, was knowing that these guys are hustlers. Like they really just work so hard to get their farms to produce really good coffee, to be fair in what they pay pickers, and they're just generally kind and amazing people, which is what you see in all of Honduras, which is really awesome. These guys are a little younger, so they're kind of more with it, and they're very tech savvy, so I do talk to them quite a bit through WhatsApp, and having that communication gives us and myself the ability to feel more connected to not just them as humans, but to the product, and seeing how are things going, like what are the issues, how can we help, and that's just mind-blowing. I could have not ever imagined being here today and like thinking that this is how coffee looks like.
I also am a big fan of their packaging. The designer who was doing the packaging suggested made by humans, and they kind of ran with it. It kind of became an informal motto of theirs.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious that we're humans, so humans consume coffee, but I think I feel subjected through whether it's social media or just the regular news, to just the things that are just inhumane and just like make you feel awful about humanity. We were thinking, like, what can we say that can actually make people think about the process, so there's people behind the bag, not just the people that are roasting and bagging the coffee, but beyond that, people like Ben Hameen or the actual producers themselves. And we all collaborated to make this, so that's what Made by Humans means to us. So.
Metric Coffee of Chicago, Illinois.